Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Well, within the framework of enhancing cooperation between Egypt and African countries in various economic and commercial fields, the Agency for the Development of Medium, Small and Micro Enterprises in cooperation with the Common Market for Eastern and Southern Africa COMESA Group held a ceremony to launch the platform that is titled The Voice of 50 million African women in Egypt. The 50 million African Women Speak platform is an initiative that uses technology to women empowerment by providing them with the information they need to start and grow their business. To shed more light on this, we have the pleasure to host this morning Dr. Yomn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Ain Shams University. Welcome, Dr. Hamaki.
Thank you.
Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Well, Dr. Hamaki, what is the main aim and the importance of holding such a platform? And let me tell you a point that women empowerment was one of the main aims of since President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi came to office. He put this as a target, and this is one of the points that he stressed during his presidency to the African Union, the women empowerment in Africa.
Actually, the visionary approach behind such a topic, we have to take it into consideration, which is nowadays we have number one, a free trade area within the African countries. Yes. This agreement on with this the integration, but yes, nowadays we are trying to enlarge the free trade area to include the 55 African countries, yes, and this is a very huge opportunities for economic integration, including intra-trade, intra-investment, yes, and so on. When we talk about how to activate this free trade area, actually why we are doing that, because the continent is suffering from unemployment and poverty. Condensation of poverty in the continent is quite a phenomena. Yes. And from here it comes the importance of economic empowerment of poor, on top of the poor women. Yes, we have in the continent the phenomena of feminization of poverty, which means that largest percentage of workers in the agriculture sector are women. They are responsible for supplying the food, which is quite important for food security and for poverty alleviation. Yes. And this is quite important to be addressed properly. Why? Because when you address poverty of women, you are enhancing the society, because women are the gateway towards having a good family, raising children properly, taking care of the health of children, avoiding the phenomena of labor, infant labor, yes, and the children that they may go to the phenomena that we can witness, that children are in the streets, they don't have good opportunities to be raised properly. So all these phenomena, when you address women, you address all these challenges confronting developing countries. From here it comes the importance that, first of all, do we have a visionary approach regarding how to address properly the phenomena of poverty of women in the continent? This is the first, because SMEs or small and micro enterprise can play a significant role in this matter, which means that if you allow opportunity for women, upgrade their capabilities, allow them or coach them towards a feasible project, yes, even if they are micro, but in order to have this project to be successful, these projects should be integrated, which yes, means that how we can define feasible project. Yes. When we try to find what are the opportunities of investment, and from here it comes the importance of such platform. if women around Africa are going to exchange ideas regarding the comparative advantage in their countries, each country can produce, even if it's part of the product to be completed in another country, but you know, describing and specifying, you know, the comparative advantage along the African continent is quite important. This is, you know, can tell you that this is a very promising project, which means that exchanging ideas, having is going to open opportunities for B2B, business to business, and then building the capabilities of women to allow them to develop these ideas into real project by providing them with financial and non-financial services, and then coaching them towards this platform can be another way or another gate for marketing and so on. So this will complete the chain in order to change the quality of life of these women. And this is the main goal, how to change the quality of life and to enhance the standard of living for these women, so that you are going to have the diffusion effect, what we can call from economic point of view, the diffusion effect. If we have a project, this is going to open opportunities for another project and another project and so on, and upgrading capabilities is going to improve the productivity. And we know quite well that Africa is having the largest rate of unemployment, and unemployment of women is from 2 to 3 times unemployment of men. So here this platform can open actually the door towards addressing the problem of poverty of women in the country.
Yes, yes. Doctor, how would these, how would the entrepreneurship boost the economy in Egypt?
Actually, entrepreneurship can be a very important way to enhance the economic situation. Why? Because, you know, when you open opportunities for small business, you are having the impact for the whole economy. I'll give you some examples about to how extent we need to change, for Egypt specifically, the equation. You know, the equation of SMEs in Egypt needs to be changed completely. Why? Because in Egypt, we have the dilemma of that you have, if you refer to the number of projects, you are going to see that more than 85% of the number of projects are SMEs, are small. But if we continue that, something you are going to find very astonishing, which is that despite that SMEs are representing more than 85% of the number of projects, they are only participating in GDP from 20 to 25.
Yes.
So the participation of SMEs in generating GDP is quite minimal in Egypt, and it needs to be enhanced. Another fact which is quite important is the participation of SMEs in export. And you know, these two figures can explain to you why SMEs in Egypt are not doing, you know, the goal we are addressing, which means that if SMEs are minimally participating in GDP, you can predict that their participation in export is minimal, which is 6% compared to 60% in China, compared to 45% in Vietnam, for example. This is telling you that the highest share and the highest number of SMEs in Egypt are not qualified. They are not upgraded with the right technology. Their productivity are very small and minimal. And that's why they are concentrated in the informal sector compared to the formal sector. So this can tell you that this is a very important potentiality in the economy that it's not used properly. If you address such a project and to upgrade their position, this could help a lot to be addressed or to enhance, you know, the GDP growth in Egypt. Another fact which is quite important too is the income, distribution of income. If you compare Vietnam with Egypt regarding the income generated to small business, you are going to find that for Vietnam, the SMEs are getting 45% of income generated, which means that they are benefiting from their activities. Yes. The SMEs that are running are having the reward to enhance their quality of life. This is not the case in Egypt, which means that, and from the case I know, because I'm working in the field and I have applied researches regarding SMEs in Egypt. From the surveys we are doing on the ground, we can mention that most of them, they are working on the what can be called from hand to mouth, which means that they have a small amount of money, they are, you know, turning this money and then having a very modest profit. They are just living from this profit and then having another turn for their capital, and this is making them quite vulnerable to any shocks. And this is what happened, actually, what happened when we have the liberalization of our currency in 2016. Most of these projects, small projects in Egypt, they closed down because they cannot afford to have the necessary capital in order to start their business again. And from here it comes the importance of how to support such small business so that they can play a significant role to generate income, to enhance quality of life, and to participate in export and to participate in GDP growth. Yes. So this is quite important. And if we put money, if we put the role of women, this can add a very important part to the equation, because women can play a significant role to support SMEs. And you know, entrepreneurship can be quite relevant to the situation of women regarding their reproductive role, because they own their time. You know, so they can manage in SMEs compared to being employed in any project.
Yes, yes. Dr. Hamaki, this initiative or platform is held under the auspices of the Ministry of Trade and Industry, and also organized by in cooperation also with the National Council for Women, Dr. Maya Morsi, and we saw you know, significant speeches for each organization or ministry during the platform, and we can have a look, a quick look on the statements or the speech by Dr. Maya Morsi, the President of the National Council for Women. As she said, this digital platform is much more than a marketplace for Egyptian women to showcase their products or connect their buyers. It is a hub providing information on where they can assess financial services, business, management, training, financial literacy, skilling, and useful tips on how to engage in import or export business.
Actually, what is more important than that, this is quite important what has been mentioned by Dr. Maya, and it's telling you to how extent this platform can help a lot of women in order to carry out their business successfully. But more and more, you know what is, when you are working in the ground, you can see that it's not just a matter of building a platform and just talking about this platform and having, you know, a media support regarding the diffusion of information regarding this platform. What is more important, how to encourage women. And when we talk about women, they are not homogeneous, which means that women in everywhere in Egypt, they are not homogeneous. You have to address women in different, different type of society, in different education level, and here it comes, you are going to find women in rural areas, women in slums, and these are the largest part of women, because people, they are astonished when they know how come you are mentioning that women are still subordinated and they are still suffering. We can see that women are taking their rights everywhere.
And very strong and leaders.
But strong and leaders and ministers and all these are quite important. But this is a small percentage of the society. When you go to see the whole picture, you are going to see that a lot of women in Upper Egypt, in rural areas, are still suffering from not having opportunities of labor opportunities for SMEs and so on, and they need our support actually, not by just mentioning that we have a platform, because most of these women, they cannot address such a platform, which means that they don't have the capabilities, they are not educated. Most of them, as I am working with women, that are living in these areas to address them and to enhance their productivity and to empower them economically. And from my point of view, this is the only way to enhance their quality of life. Why? Because, when you offer them a training skills in a proper way, and then after that, you can direct them. What are the opportunities that may they face? And sometimes, even after they got training, they cannot find, because they don't have money, actually. They are suffering from poverty. So for this kind of women, they need more efforts to be guided. They need more efforts to direct them and coach them. And I believe the most important way for women in such circumstances is the idea of incubators. Incubators can play a significant role, and we can turn different places around Egypt. We have a lot of places from my studies in the ground, in different governorates, to turn them into incubators, into places in which women can come safely. This is another very important part of addressing women. How women can work in an environment that can feel safe. When you address them, but we are an NGO, we are a foundation, we are working with the governorates in order to support you, for example, or with the National Council of Women, or with the Minister of Trade. The women can feel safety. And when you, support this safety perception for women in these areas by providing the safe place and the right people to address them. This is not an easy task, because I'm working in the ground, so I can't tell you to how extent this is not
to convince them
easy,
and to reach...
to convince them and to let them feel that they are in a safe situation. Their families can see that the trainer is a good person, like father, like brother, and the system of management is quite important, taking care of them, and there is a persistency, we are serious to do such activity. So from this, environment, women can feel safe about the situation, and so that they can, be confident that you are giving something good for them. So they are coming and they are starting to be trained, and after trained, you can offer to them opportunity when you are going to find a project or a small project. Most of the women we have trained in ready-made clothes, they would like to have a small workshop in order to to manage these skills and to get money. But the problem behind that is that you need to work in a sustainable way by enhancing how to market for such a product. So here it comes is that we can refer to the platform here, because when women are on a solid situation, in order to benefit from such a platform, which means that they have their equipment, they have capital, they have their machines to use, and they know how to deliver the project, and they have the skills to do it. Here the platform can play a significant role, but not only by just mentioning that we have a platform, because we can hear nowadays in a lot of places the inauguration of such platforms in order to support women or to support youth in SMEs or to find opportunities of job. From my point of view, and working in the ground, it needs a lot of efforts to support women and youth even to start benefiting from such platform. And there is a very important way to monitor such what I'm talking about. It's not just by talking. We have to refer to indicators and monitoring and evaluation. When we talk about such a platform, what I'm asking Dr. Maya and Minister of Trade is to monitor to how extent women are going to benefit from such a platform, and what type of women, and from which direction, from which governorates. And when you have such a system of monitoring and evaluation to monitor what you are doing, you can reach results.
You mean, Doctor, before during organizing, or before the platform starts, or after this?
From the first beginning, if you have a system of monitoring,
I was going to ask you,
Doctor, start with you.
Yes, because I was going to ask you, Doctor, about the following up after the platform ends, after the recommendations come out, or the outcome of this platform. Is there any committees following up after this?
Of course. It needs
what is the importance of following up?
Not only
committees to follow up.
Yes, not only following up the impact of such a platform, but from the beginning, if you have a platform, what is the main goal of this platform? To attract women and to help them to be entrepreneurs. So you are going to figure out what is the number of women entrepreneurs nowadays in different areas, and how percentage you need to increase such participation of women in the field of entrepreneur. So this should be mentioned in figures, And then the second point, whom this platform is addressing, which type of women, in which areas, geographic areas, how we can reach these women, how to make advertising to them regarding how to, coaching them towards benefiting from this platform, So all these are questions that should be addressed before even launching such a platform. And then after launching such a platform, you have to follow in each geographic area how we are coaching women to benefit from such a platform, and then how you can figure out, even you can use some tools like offices of the National Council of Women. They can direct women towards doing that. You can direct them from several tools, and then what are the most important tools, that are suitable to each category. So a lot of things and work should be done in order to mention at the end to how extent such a platform can help women. And I can tell you from my experience that still you have to work hard to address women in several parts of Egypt, specifically in rural areas. And nowadays Egypt is witnessing actually very good efforts towards enhancing the role of the agriculture sector, renewable energy in the agriculture sector, biomass, and all these activities women can play a significant role. So start by mentioning what are the small projects that are feasible in every part of
yes,
Egypt.
yes.
And then which can be suitable to women, and how to, attract women towards such starting to have a business in these fields, and what services are necessary for them to help them to start their business.
Yes.
So a lot of work should be done,
Yes,
actually.
yes. Dr. Yomn, unfortunately, we're running out of time, but I have one important last question very quickly. How do you see this such platform or this kind of platforms and initiatives, conferences in boosting relations and how do you see it as a good opportunity for boosting relations between Egypt and Africa and paving way for economic cooperation in the Black Continent?
This is very important because we are working nowadays to activate the free trade area. As I started mentioning, this is quite important. When you cannot activate a free trade area without intra-trade, and intra-trade is actually based on intra-investment. So this is what we can call, that women and women in Africa are very strong, actually, and they are participating quite well in, the future of their countries. They can do a lot, women in Africa. And from here it comes that if you direct women in Africa to participate in economic activities, different fields, and enhancing their capabilities to do that, I believe this should be based on what are the points of completing comparative advantage among African countries, which means each country should study which types of activities they have a comparative advantage on it, and then exchange ideas, and then building B2B, business to business cooperation, how to make a successful business based on win-win situation. And I believe this needs some coaching, some support. We have a lot of institutions and organizations in the African Union and in different associations, even civil association. We have civil associations in Egypt nowadays, businessmen association and women, and this can play a significant role towards helping women towards how to find B2B, what are the workshops that can be done, even if we start by virtual workshops, to exchange ideas and to specify which type of activities can be beneficial, and we can complete each other by it. And this is the starting point to build a successful project after that, and then have the support of such a platform for women to activate their project, and then to go successfully to achieve their goals, inshallah.
I thank you very much for your valuable information and for your time, Dr. Yomn Hamaki, Professor of Economics at Ain Shams University. Thank you very much. I had the pleasure to host you today. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Now I leave you with my colleague, Nashwa Rashid.